It's almost like the cold weather gear there.
Listen, I'm an Indiana fan. There's no way I'm paying for a used towel. All right? That's just
you can wash
kind of not on my list.
Okay. Not top on your list. All right. We got more cold weather. You guys are right to point that out. And yes, there's some snow. There could be a couple of snow showers or a flurry today. Not a big deal with the snow. We will see blowing snow, though. That may be more of a problem throughout the day. Temperatures going nowhere. We're going to be stuck in the teens, even with a few peaks of sunshine out there. 14 at O'Hare, Midway, and Gary. 16 at Joliet. 11 at Woodstock and Valparaiso. Rensselaer, 11 degrees. And take a look at these wind chills. Feels like it's below zero pretty much area-wide. Okay, 1 above at Gary, but 2 below at Midway, 8 below at Woodstock. No thaw in sight. If it's 7 o'clock, it must be Anthony's turn to talk about the traffic.
It must be. We want to start by taking a look from Sky Fox here. Chopper right now is over a location in River Forest. We're still waiting on coordinates here, but we understand 2 people who were being pursued by police bailed out of their car and then ran off. They ran away on foot prior to police apprehending them. So we'll keep you posted on the situation there, but look for a little bit of police activity there in River Forest. All right, to the expressways now. The only thing I'm seeing right now is the left lane is blocked on I-57 northbound at 127th Street. There's a backup, looks like about a mile because it's backed up all the way to 147th. So you're going to face some stop-and-go traffic there, delays of up to 20 minutes. On the other expressways, your drive time inbound on the Kennedy is 42 minutes from O'Hare to downtown. On the Eisenhower, you're at 47 minutes, Route 390 to downtown. On the Stevenson, it's a 41-minute ride inbound from I-355 to DuSable Lakeshore Drive. And your Dan Ryan 95th to downtown drive time is at 28 minutes.
Now to those big developments in Minnesota. Border Patrol Commander Gregory Bovino is reportedly leaving Minneapolis.
This comes after that second deadly shooting by federal agents over the weekend. The Department of Homeland Security says that Bovino will return to El Centro, California. He will not be losing his job. Bovino had been leading the immigration enforcement operation in the Twin Cities when the Border Patrol agent shot and killed ICU nurse Alex Preddy at a protest on Saturday. And Bovino had also led Operation Midway Blitz here in Chicago. Angry crowds protested last night outside the hotel where they believed Bovino was staying in Minneapolis. As we take a look at the scene there, this was right outside Spring Hill Suites by Marriott. Police say the protest escalated when people began throwing objects at officers and damaging property. Officers declared an unlawful assembly. They deployed chemical irritants on the crowd, and several people were arrested.
President Donald Trump says he is sending in border czar Tom Homan to take over for Bovino. Homan is a veteran ICE official who worked under the first Trump administration and the Obama White House. He will report directly to President Trump. In response, Illinois Governor J.B. Pritzker slammed the move, saying in part, sending Tom Homan to Minnesota is like pouring gasoline on a fire. Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem praised the decision and called Homan a major asset, saying on social media that his experience and insight will help in wide-scale fraud investigations there. Minneapolis Mayor Jacob Frey is set to meet with Tom Homan a little later on today, and this comes after President Donald Trump says he and the mayor had a productive phone call. Gabriela Primus breaks down what was said.
Yeah, Natalie, well, Frey says during that phone call, he asked the president to end the immigration enforcement surge and that Trump agreed the present situation cannot continue. President Trump also spoke with Minnesota Governor Tim Walz on the phone, saying in a social media post that the two actually seem to be on a similar wavelength. Saturday's deadly shooting involving Alex Preddy is the second one involving federal law enforcement in a matter of 2 weeks. The White House said that Preddy was responsible for his own death because he had a gun on him, which we now know he had a legal permit to carry. That statement now drawing backlash from Second Amendment advocates.
What the administration has been saying is inconsistent with what conservatives have been fighting for, frankly, for 50 years. Now, the law differs from state to state. Some states do control bringing it to a demonstration, but in this case, I haven't seen any indication that he violated any Minnesota law.
The White House says it supports Second Amendment rights. So far, no video released of the shooting has showed Preddy unholstering his concealed weapon. A rally was held last night in Arlington Heights to show support for Preddy. The vigil was hosted by the Northwest Suburbs Organizing for Action. People braved the cold to have their voices heard.
They are murders. ICE is murdering people. They shot her in cold blood. They shot Alex Preddy in cold blood. He was trying to help someone.
We're at a loss for words. We've never seen anything like this in our country, and it's unspeakable.
Organizers say that people can help by calling Congress members and urging them to oppose funding that supports ICE. We now know Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem has agreed to testify before the Senate Judiciary Committee in early March. It's part of regular DHS oversight, but she'll likely be questioned about her handling of this shooting and the shooting of Renee Good by an ICE agent. Anthony.
All right, Gabriella, thank you. Back here locally, the lawyer for a Chicago woman shot by a Border Patrol agent is calling for the evidence in her case to be made public. Marimar Martinez was accused of ramming a Border Patrol agent's car back in October. She was shot multiple times. Charges filed against her, they were later dropped. Martinez's lawyer says that releasing body cam footage and other forms of evidence will ensure the debate around the case is based in fact.
Police are investigating after a Metro train hit a snowplow in Bartlett. The crash killed a public works employee. Happened Monday morning near the Bartlett station on the MDW line. The plow driver has not been identified. No passengers on the train were hurt. The folks at Metro are doing their part to tackle a very serious and really surprising condition in our country, and specifically in the Chicagoland area, and that is human trafficking.
It turns out there's an important role for the transit agency and also everyday passengers to play in the fight against human trafficking. Roseanne is at Union Station with more on how they are asking for the public's help here. Roseanne?
Well, Anthony, Natalie, Metro employees and passengers can help identify the victims. Now, this is Human Trafficking Prevention Month, so it's a good time to act, and that's exactly what they're doing. Today, Metro passing out magnets to riders with the signs to watch out for, like people who are traveling with no ticket or fare, relying on somebody else to produce it, those with few or no personal belongings, or maybe a young woman who's not allowed to speak, or someone wearing seasonably inappropriate clothing. Victims are often transported by train, so they're trying to teach riders to know the signs. Jim Derwinski, the executive director and CEO of Metro, says it turns out Metro can play a big role in stopping human trafficking.
We found out, unfortunately, that trains, and including Metro trains, are used for trafficking. Trafficking is about taking an individual against their will from some place where they're being held to some place where they could be used. And so trains are unfortunately, a method of getting them from here to there. Our hope would be that we get closer to getting rid of the bad guy or the bad girl. Right now, we'd like to find a way to get the victim away from the trafficker.
This is a huge and growing problem, and we're not just talking about sex workers that some may think. It's also forced labor. So once again, these signs, these magnets, know the signs, are being passed out at Union Station today through 9 a.m. Reporting from Union Station, Roseanne Tejas, Fox Chicago.
Thank you so much, Roseanne. 7:08 now, and let's take you live outside. Be glad you're inside because it's another cold one today. Mike Kaplan is standing by with a look at the forecast. How many days until we warm up into the 30s again, Mike?
When's April?
Oh, no, don't say that.
Mid-April. Look, maybe next week we can get above freezing. There are some signs that maybe that will happen, but we got a whole bunch of winter to deal with before that would happen. A little bit of light snow still showing up across southern Wisconsin and far northeast Illinois. These snow showers, if you will, moving into parts of McHenry and Lake County. So let's zoom in there and show you some of the communities where you might be getting a little bit of snow, maybe around Lake Villa and Fox Lake, and then west we go, Wonder Lake, west towards Harvard and Chemung. This is all moving to the the south, you know, it might be enough to produce a dusting. This is not a big deal. And at any point in time today, we could see a couple of flurries flying. But I think we're also going to see a decent amount of sunshine. I've actually increased my sunshine forecast. It's 14 at O'Hare, and it's not going to warm up much from there. 16 at Joliet and LaSalle, Peru, but only 11 at Woodstock, DeKalb, and also in the Rockford area. We have wind chills. Still feels like it's below zero. You need the full gear out there today. Hats, gloves, the double layered coats. 2 below zero. The wind chill at Chicago Heights feels like 5 below in Valparaiso. Today, we're going to top out in the mid-teens. There will be some sunshine. Gusty winds, though, so that 15 is going to feel more like a 0 throughout the day today. Watch for a couple of flurries, and this morning, maybe an isolated snow shower around. Back to you.
Okay, Mike, thank you, sir. After the break, we are going back up to Minneapolis. Fox Chicago's Saquon, who spent years in that city, is going to be speaking with the residents there. She's also going to run us through the latest talks between President Trump and local Minnesota leaders. Stay with us.
Fox 32 News is brought to you by
Welcome back. Starting today, some federal agents are expected to leave Minnesota.
The departure is coming just as we confirm that Acting Border Patrol Chief Gregory Bovino has been demoted. Fox Chicago's Saquon joins us live in Minneapolis with the developments. So walk us through kind of what has happened within the last 24 hours, Say.
Yeah, absolutely. So there's obviously been a lot of developments in this, and actually you just touched on it. Greg Bovino, the Border Patrol commander at large right now, sources are confirming within just the last hour or so that he has now been demoted from that role, and he's set to return to his former job to, quote, lead the implementation of the Trump administration's immigration policy in California. Now, as you mentioned, some of these federal agents are expected to leave Minnesota today. It's just unclear at this point how many federal agents will be be leaving, and also whether ICE agents will be included in that departure. Right now, there are 3,000 agents here in Minnesota. 2,000 of them, are with ICE, and the other 1,000 are with Border Patrol. We do know Border Patrol Commander Greg Bovino will also be leaving today. Now, this comes after both the governor and the Minneapolis mayor talked to the president on the phone. We also know today Border Czar Tom Homan will also be arriving in Minnesota. Homan comes with law enforcement experience, guys, working with both Republicans and Democrats. In fact, he was named Associate Director of ICE by President Barack Obama. This was back in 2013. He was named Director of ICE by President Trump in 2017. And most recently, he was named Border Czar, also by the president in 2024, to be in charge of all deportations. We have been watching closely to hear from White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt, who has been saying Tom Homan will now be the new point of contact on the ground here in Minneapolis. We also know Minneapolis's mayor, Jacob Frey, is set to meet with Homan today to discuss what those next steps are, although it hasn't really been made clear what those next steps really might look like. Guys?
Has it been made clear, say, how they are reacting to these changes in terms of leadership there? In terms of the local leaders' reaction to the changes?
Sure. Yeah, you know, both the governor and Minneapolis's mayor have been very clear about, you know, the aggressiveness on these immigration operations. We know that Governor Walz and Jacob Frey, you know, they both had what they're calling productive calls with the president. You know, the full details, right, of this not really exactly clear at this point. We do know, however, that the president has told the governor that he agrees that the presence of these federal agents cannot continue right now. So what does that look like? Of course, that is what we're expecting to learn today, especially after Minneapolis's mayor meets with Tom Homan, the border czar. And same with the mayor. I mean, they are saying pretty much similar language in terms of, you know, we do not think that this is a real solution to what's going on here. And they're really trying to hone in on the fact that this is unconstitutional. So, again, we are expecting to learn more throughout the day, especially after the mayor meets with Tom Homan.
All right, Saquon, live in Minneapolis. Thank you, Say, for your reporting this morning.
Yeah, we'll check back in with Say throughout the morning. Okay, for years, Chicago's Welcome City Ordinance has protected undocumented residents, but some aldermen want to reinforce that policy after allegations that the Chicago police, in some cases, assisted federal immigration agents. This is alleged to have happened back in June. So there's going to be a meeting today to talk about this, and we are joined this morning by Brandon Lee. He is with the Illinois Coalition for Immigrant and Refugee Rights to break it down for us. Brandon, let me start off by asking you, how exactly does your group want to reinforce the existing policy?
Of course. So my organization, the Illinois Coalition for Immigrant and Refugee Rights, we've been working to strengthen the Welcoming City Ordinance for years and have successfully done that multiple times. Today's hearing is going to be focused on the investigatory power, which city agency has the ability to investigate when there are apparent incidents of collaboration between federal immigration enforcement and Chicago police.
Why is this so important? I know that we have heard reports from Minneapolis, for example, that federal agents kind of circled the wagons and didn't allow local agencies and local authorities to get on that scene and gather evidence for their own investigation. Can you speak on the importance of this reinforcement that you guys have in mind here?
So, you know, in the Chicago context, there are two examples that really come to mind. One is the incident at the check-in location over the summer where people were lured in to check in with to check in as part of the process that they're going through, but instead were taken by ICE on the spot. And what came from that incident was apparent collaboration with the Chicago Police Department, where officers went inside, where officers created a perimeter to allow the agents to remove people rather than there's the footage. And so the second instance being in December when Greg Bovino, who has since been demoted, explicitly thanked Chicago police and Evanston police for their assistance on that day. So this is really important in order for the city of Chicago and the residents of Chicago to know that the Welcoming City Ordinance, which is standing law in Chicago, is respected, enforced, and that there is accountability in the event of violations.
Okay, taking the other tack here, many people argue that it is exactly this kind of legislation, which, in some cases, it's argued that it thwarts federal agents' ability to enforce federal law, and that it's this kind of legislation that creates somewhat of a permission structure to violate federal law. And they say that this is the root cause of all this violence that we are seeing between federal agents and the public. How do you respond to that?
You know, the Chicago Welcoming City Ordinance has been in place in some way, shape, or form since the Harold Washington administration. And over time, advocates have worked to close loopholes, have worked to strengthen the ordinance to ensure that local community members and the institutions of the city of Chicago, that there's trust here, that there's trust between the community members, that they know that they can seek city assistance without fear of immigration enforcement being called in. And this has been supported by many different actors. The state version of this law was signed into law by a Republican governor. So I would just say that attempts to undermine, attempts to overturn, attempts to seek legal action against the Welcoming City Ordinance have not withstood legal muster. And in addition, that we need to, especially in this moment when you see the encroachment of federal agents, of ICE as an agency, as you see this encroachment, we need to keep the policies like the Welcoming City Ordinance strong, and that's what the committee meeting and hopefully the ordinance that comes from it is seeking to do.
All right, Brandon Lee with the Illinois Coalition for Immigrant and Refugee Rights. We appreciate your time this morning.
Thanks, Al.
All right, 7:21, and that means it's time to send it over to Mike.
Ooh, look at that.
Little view there over the Adler Planetarium. That's kind of, I like how the sun is illuminating those high clouds there.
Yes, and we're getting a couple of crepuscular rays there. Can you see the little shadow versus light areas there? We're going to see some sunshine today, and some of us may even get a brief snow shower. This is the view over the Millennium Plaza. The Bean is still covered with a little bit of snow. Now, there are a couple of snow showers that are impacting mainly Lake and McHenry County. Looks like a pretty decent one over Wonder Lake. Not all of this is reaching the ground. None of it is heavy, but there may be a passing snow shower to deal with today. I'll mention that in the forecast. Let's say partly sunny. Temperature's pretty much going nowhere. 15 degrees for the high. We have a west wind, 15 to 25, so that's going to make it feel even colder. Tonight, dropping down to around 2, and a few spots are going to get below 0 again. Partly cloudy skies, wind chills to around minus 15. In this entire period, another 7 days without a thaw, lots of cold, and right here, Thursday night through Saturday, there's going to be some lake effect snow. Can't say yet exactly who's going to get. Is it going to be a big bunch for the city again? Is it going to target mainly Northwest Indiana? We're going to have to watch this closely, but an impactful lake effect event, once again, is setting up from Thursday night into Saturday. Won't be snowing all the time, but we'll have to deal with it. Monday, another snow shower on the way with a high temperature of 28 degrees. All right, what have you got for us there, Anthony?
Okay, this is the aftermath of a car fire that broke out in a parking lot. This is on the northwest side of the city, right near Howard and Central. You can see some of the responders on scene there. The fire is out. We will keep you posted if we hear about how this thing broke out or if there's any injuries. Also, the chopper is going to soon be headed north to the Edens Expressway to check out the situation there. Apparently, there's been an accident on the left shoulder at Niles Center Road about 10 minutes ago. I'm seeing some red on the map there. Be aware that is it northbound? Okay, so I'm thinking right now at this point that it's on the outbound side. Here's a look at your other drive times as well. A couple accidents to speak of here. Let's see, on the outbound Kennedy, there's an accident on the right shoulder. That's at Foster Avenue. And then the left lane is blocked on the westbound Kennedy at Diversey. So heads up there. There's a look at your drive times. 42 minutes inbound on the Kennedy from O'Hare. 47 minutes on the Eisenhower from Route 390 to downtown. Stevenson's at 41 between I-355 and DuSable Lakeshore Drive. And the Dan Ryan is still at 28 minutes inbound from 95th to downtown. All right, we'll be right back after a short break. Stay with us.
Fox 32 News is brought to you by your
New this morning, ICE agents will be at the Winter Olympics in Milan. Gabriela Primas has that and other top stories that we're following for you this morning.
Yeah, let's talk about it. The U.S. Embassy in Rome says federal ICE agents are expected to support diplomatic security details. They will not be running any immigration enforcement operations. Federal agencies have supported security at past Olympics, including Homeland Security investigations, although Milan's mayor says ICE is not welcome in his city. Also, the lawyer for a Chicago woman shot by a Border Patrol agent is calling for the evidence in her case to be made public. Marimar Martinez was accused of ramming a Border Patrol agent's car back in October. She was shot multiple times. Charges filed against her were later dropped. President Trump will travel to Iowa today in an effort to focus on affordability as his administration works to deal with the fallout of the latest shooting in Minneapolis. He'll be speaking just outside of Des Moines. It's part of a White House strategy to have President Trump travel once a week ahead of the midterm elections. Mike, how's the weather looking?
Well, we've got some sunshine out there. Sky Fox is flying around 875 North Michigan Avenue. Of course, we know that. It's the Hancock Building. And we've got a little bit of sunshine out there. Behind me, one of our views. Take a look at that. Sun coming up from some clouds. Some of you may see some blowing snow this morning, and I'm more concerned about lake effect. I'll tell you when that returns to the forecast coming up.
Touches of black.
Welcome back. The White House is sending Border Patrol Chief Gregory Bovino back to his old job in California. Border czar Tom Homan will go to Minneapolis to take over. The White House began to soften its tone on the killing of Alex Preddy by ICE agents in Minneapolis. Bovino is said to be retiring soon once he returns to California.
A snowplow driver was killed when a Metro train hit that plow Monday in Bartlett. The driver, who has not been named, was a public works employee. Metro says it's investigating what happened here. No one on the train was hurt.
All right, The Score is going to be paying tribute today to Terry Bors, who died last week from liver failure at the age of 75. He had left his sports writing job at the Sun-Times to join The Score in 1992 when he was paired up with Dan McNeil. They created one of the biggest sports radio shows in Chicago. And Bors had retired in 2017, and The Score will run programming today between noon and 7 o'clock to honor him. Chicago fire crews, they're investigating an overnight house fire in the freezing cold. It broke out in the Roseland neighborhood.
Those firefighters have to do so much in all the elements. Gabriella is here now with more.
Yeah, could you even imagine having to fight a fire in sub-zero temperatures? Well, that's what they had to do this morning. A 3-story building caught fire before 3 today. Witnesses on the scene say the people inside the house were able to get out. At this point, we don't know what caused it. Today marks the most tragic stretch of days in NASA's history. On January 27, 1967, a fire broke out in the capsule of Apollo 1 while 3 astronauts were practicing for the first manned-moon mission. Tomorrow will mark 40 years since the Challenger exploded shortly after liftoff. All 7 crew members in that case, including the first teacher in space, were killed. And Sunday will mark 22 years since the Columbia broke apart while returning from orbit, killing all 7 crew members. Also today, we're going to find out how close to doomsday a group of scientists think we are. The Bulletin of Atomic Scientists at the University of Chicago will reveal where the doomsday clock sits. Last year, it was set at 89 seconds to midnight, with midnight being doomsday. That's the closest to doomsday it's been. So good news, one of the scientists from the doomsday clock will be with us tomorrow in Good Day Chicago to talk about why they set the clock where they did. Nat.
Is it good news? Okay, thank you so much, Gabby. Yeah, we'll see. An unbelievable piece of video leads, I should say, to a mother's arrest.
Well, yeah, could land her in jail, right? Brian is here with more on what happened. Brian.
Yeah, we do want to warn you before we show you this video. It happened in California, where a toddler was seen falling out of an SUV. Police say it happened last week in Fullerton. The 19-month-old fell out of a vehicle when it made a turn, and the front passenger door came open. There was a car right behind the SUV. Thankfully, it was able to stop and avoid hitting the child. The mother got out, grabbed the child, and then drove off. Police say that she is charged with child abuse.
Once they were out there in the city of La Habra, they found the 19-month-old had sustained injuries that were consistent with falling from the vehicle. The child was transported to a local hospital and is expected to make a full recovery.
That woman is due in court this morning. Police said that the child was not in a car seat. The toddler was hurt, but thankfully should be able to recover. All right, time's now 7:34. Tossing it over to Mike for a look at this frozen forecast.
That's right, and there's no thaw in sight. You know, we had a mild start to the month. That ship has sailed. At least we've got a little bit of sunshine breaking out over some of the clouds that for the most part are over the lake. However, some of us are dealing with a couple of snow showers, especially in Lake and McHenry County. At O'Hare, skies are actually clear. It's 14. I don't think it's going to get much warmer than that all day long. We have a west wind at 14, so that's what it feels like on exposed skin. 1 degree below zero. It's 12 at Aurora, 11 at Woodstock, 14 LaSalle, Peru, Gary, and also in Michigan City, 16 at Joliet. Winds are still pretty blustery out of the west for the most part, and it looks like O'Hare and Benton Harbor are among the leaders in the wind gust department. I think we'll see gusts close to 30 throughout the day. So the wind chills very close to, or in most cases a little bit below zero. If you're spending any kind of time outside, you want the hat, the gloves, the whole deal on. Let's check out the 7-day forecast. Not much to pick and choose from temperature-wise today, tomorrow, Thursday, and even on Friday. So I'm just going to throw up a bunch of 15s there. This is the main story here. Thursday night, Friday and Saturday. I'm confident there's going to be lake effect snow going on. What is too early to tell is who's going to get most of it. And could there be a wallop, or is it going to be more of a whimper? We'll wait and see, but I think somebody gets an impactful snow out of this thing, and it's a long duration event. We've got another chance for snow on Monday. Here's a beautiful photo of a brown pelican from Johnny O'Hara, ready for takeoff in Sarasota Bay, Florida. Fun to watch these birds as they almost glide just a couple of feet above the water. Good picture there, Johnny. Our next photo, let's go to another warm location, Kauai, in the beautiful state of Hawaii. Look at those palm trees. I'm sure it's much warmer there than it is here. Bernice Beckley, thank you for sending us that one. And our final photo from our friend in Montana, Mike Williams, gives us a look at that first quarter moon coming up over a snow-capped mountain. Moon, you can see it in the daylight hours. Look for it late this morning, high in the eastern sky. You won't see it over a mountain here, but you'll still see it if the skies are clear. All right, there you see the live shot over our city. There's at least some sunshine out there, but not much warmth. We'll be right back after this.
Everything you need to get started.
It is 7:39 here on Good Day Chicago. A statewide initiative wants to keep you safer on the roads and eliminate traffic fatalities. Maggie Sherwinski with the Active Transportation Alliance is here. Maggie, thanks for joining us here on Good Day. This is a multi-pronged approach. Explain the factors that you're looking at here to keep people safe.
So the Illinois Zero Traffic Fatalities Task Force, it was created in 2023 by state law to figure out why people are still dying on our roads and how to stop it. And the issue is a lot of our streets have been designed to move traffic quickly and efficiently, which doesn't always keep people safe. When you look at data in Illinois, more than 3 people are killed every day in traffic crashes, with people walking and biking at especially high risk. So this task force has been meeting monthly in 2025 to develop concrete strategies to help people get where they're going safely and to make it home. And there are various strategies that set of recommendations is focused on related to speed management, roadway design, enforcement, and education, among other things.
And you mentioned it there, but we understand that Illinois has an extremely grim record when it comes to traffic deaths.
Yeah, so traffic safety is a very serious issue in Illinois. In 2024, about 1,200 people were killed, and there were over 300 crashes with tens of thousands of injuries. So as I said before, that's 3 deaths every day on our streets. And then when you're looking at people walking and biking, that makes up about 1 in 5 traffic fatalities. They're especially vulnerable to a crash.
Yeah. What kind of solutions is the task force looking at? I know you mentioned, obviously, the safety of the roads, speed limits. I mean, can we look at reconfigurations of roads, maybe a reduction in speed limits, an increase in enforcement? What are you looking at? What are you recommending?
Yeah, so there's a suite of recommendations, about 30 different recommendations. So, for example, the group recommends that local communities should have more options to lower speed limits, make it easier for them, and keep evaluating what else can be done related to speed limits. Streets should be redesigned to naturally encourage safer driving speeds. So things like narrowing traffic lanes, having pedestrian islands, crosswalks, separated bike lanes, so separating users. And then related to enforcement, that could look like holding repeat dangerous drivers accountable, exploring traffic camera options, offering education instead of just fines. And then related to education, this could be updating driver education trainings, covering new modes like e-bikes, motor-driven cycles, and continue to teach kids safe walking and biking skills.
Some of this seems so doable, but we also know that Illinois is facing an extreme amount of debt. So is this something that IDOT is going to look to build into its future plans?
Yeah, I know the Illinois Department of Transportation is very committed to taking action on these recommendations because safety is such a big concern. So they're planning on, there's a lot we can do without money. It's policy changes and perhaps shifting some funding so that we are focused on safety solutions.
Maggie Sherwinski, thank you so much for your time this morning.
Thank you so much.
Hopefully we can make a difference here. Here's a look at what's coming up on Good Day Chicago at 8 and 9. Keep it right here.
Hi, Dave.
It's one of those things where it's not you that's the problem, but other drivers.
Yes.
We've heard that before.
Indeed, always. Gabrielle is here with some wild video to show us.
You know, that usually seems like it is the case, guys. There's too many people driving crazy around here for one, okay? But this is some new video because really it just happened a few hours ago. In Anaheim, California, surveillance video shows a car crashing into two parked cars in front of a smoke shop. That makes sense. One of the cars came to a stop. The passenger in it took off. The driver, however, did end up staying on scene. That person is said to be cooperating with police. The whole thing is under investigation. It's a new day for Southwest Airlines. Starting this morning, you will have an assigned seat. No more open seating for you all. And Southwest will charge larger people for 2 seats. Southwest has ditched its person of size policy to let plus size people only pay for 1 seat. If the second seat wasn't booked ahead of time and if there's no space available, that passenger will be asked to be booked on a different flight. Southwest is making all these changes, to be blunt, because it wants more money. Are you ready to dance on the ceiling and maybe do it all night long? Well, Lionel Richie is coming to the United Center on June 26. Tickets will go on sale on Friday. The sing-along all night long tour will feature one of Mike Kaplan's favorites, Earth, Wind and Fire. If you have a pre-sale code, you can get tickets tomorrow. Natalie and Anthony.
What a fun blast from the past. Thank you so much. And I'm glad that we could work Kaplan in, our own maestro.
Totally.
I love Earth, Wind and Fire and Lionel Richie. Good stuff there. Look at the bean. And a couple of brave souls out there kind of taking a look there. We still have snow coating the top of that. Was it you, Anthony, that called it look like a beignet yesterday?
It wasn't me, but I agreed with the sentiment.
It was our director,
Yeah, it looks
Nick.
like a beignet.
Little
All right,
Nick,
we'll give
who's
Nick
from
the credit.
Texas.
Yeah.
We will
Yep.
give Nick the credit for that one. We do have some sunshine out there right now. This is kind of cool. Look at the shadow here of Willis Tower extending out there to the west. And we are going to see a mixture of clouds and sun today with temperatures maxing out about where they are now, 15. A west wind at 15 to 25 will ensure it feels colder than that. There could be a flurry at some point, but that's about it. Just those gusty winds making it feel colder. So check out the 7-day forecast here. It's characterized by cold and more cold. The next 4 days, I mean, it's a pick'em sort of a deal temperature-wise, mid-teens. This is the period of concern. Thursday night, Friday, and Saturday. Why? Lake effect snow potential, and it could be an impactful storm somewhere in the Chicago area. It's just too soon to tell exactly where that lake effect plume is going to be at any given point in time, but that is a period we're going to watch closely. Another chance for a sticking snow here on Monday, and no thaw in sight. All right, let's check back in with Anthony and update those travel times.
Okay, unfortunately, we have accidents that are affecting the situation on both the Eisenhower and the Stevenson. On the both on the inbound sides of these expressways. On the Eisenhower, there is an accident on the right shoulder at Austin Boulevard. This was just reported about 15 minutes ago. And then on the Stevenson, right shoulder is also blocked with an accident. That is at Harlem. So here's a look at your drive times. 42 minutes inbound on the Kennedy, 47 inbound on the Eisenhower, 41 inbound on the Stevenson between I-355 and DuSable Lakeshore Drive. And the travel times on the Dan Ryan haven't changed all morning. That's still at 28 minutes. There is an accident blocking the right shoulder on the outbound side of the Dan Ryan, so heads up there. If you have seen the video, you know it was wild when a stunt at the Indiana Jones show in Orlando was dramatic here. A Disney worker still recovering. A 400-pound fake boulder came off the track there. It started heading right toward the audience. The worker got between the people and that prop to try to stop that prop from rolling right onto them. A former stuntman who worked with the show says there have been problems like this before.
When that ball comes out, basically like it's on, there's like an arm back there where it sits, and the sequence of events that happens and is controlled by the technicians and everything, that arm just kind of like shoots the ball out. Like it just kind of pops it out, and it's on a track. Like there's actual like two little, raised things that Indy is like jumping around and stuff, or he jumps into the track. So once it rolls down, he's, getting closer to it and things like that. And then he drops into like a little like padded area.
In a statement, Disney says it is now focused on the cast member who was hurt. It says elements of the show will be changed while safety teams continue to look it over.
You became part of the action, I guess, if you saw that show. Well, if you don't have a good idea for Valentine's Day, a nice location, maybe you should hit the library's card catalog. Nothing says romance like that. A Wisconsin library has created 15 date ideas to try at libraries. Youth Services librarian at the library started the list after seeing a couple do a date night challenge at the library. She says the list helps remind people there's more than books at the library.
We have a puzzle exchange at many of our libraries where you can pick a puzzle or leave a puzzle or take a puzzle. And we also have, of course, movies, and we have video games, and we have so many other fun things.
And just FYI, women consider men who read very attractive. 98% of women say it's an appealing hobby.
I constantly read. I'm just always got my nose in a book, Nat. Just FYI. I'm just throwing that out there.
A Romeo and Anthony Ponce.
All right. Hey, I don't know if Olive's enrolled in a lot of sports, but if your kids are playing sports, you may already know just how expensive it can become, especially
I've heard about these club sports.
Yeah, the club sports in particular, with the gas bill. Listen to this. The Club Sports Index says there's a big positive impact for kids off the field. However, it's expensive to get these things going. Club-level sports require a significant amount of time and money.
During club season, anywhere from $500 to $1,000 a month just for the club fees. Also, the friends that she's made, the exercise that she is getting, the discipline that she's getting through the weekly practices, that I always feel the money was worth it.
Experts say that it's important for parents and for players to find a balance in order to avoid burnout. The day may come when you don't hear a Southern draw anymore. The University of Georgia, says Gen Z losing their Southern accents. Says accents fading in each generation. And like most things in society, we can blame the internet. Language professors point to young adults who spend multiple hours on social media every day, saying the phenomenon is turning everyone into digital copycats. Apparently, we've been getting Ken's name wrong for 65 years. It's not actually Ken, like Barbie and Ken. His real name is Kenneth Sean Carson. He's named for the founders of Mattel. Well, whatever you call him, Ken will turn 61 in March. He was introduced 2 years after Barbie. And at the time, the official story from Mattel was Barbie met Ken at a teenage dance. And like most men, he's been disappointing Barbie ever since. And I want to thank our producer, David, for putting that line in. Well, the end has come for mass market paperbacks. Those are the hand-sized books that you've been reading for years. Publishers Weekly say that publishers discontinued them at the end of last year. It's because stores like Walmart and Costco don't sell that many of those books. And their peak was in the 90s. Trade paperbacks, the bigger ones, it costs closer to $20, though, will still be around. We've got plenty more Good Day Chicago ahead, so keep it right here. Jury selection set to begin in California for a case against Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube. The companies face accusations from a 19-year-old plaintiff claiming the sites are designed to deliberately get kids addicted, heightening depression and thoughts of suicide. The case could test the limits of a federal law that protects companies from being liable for what their users post. The case is one of many against social media companies set to go on trial this year. There's a real good chance that you're getting too much sodium in your diet. I know I am. A British and French study found cutting salt, though, saved 1,100 lives. Well, there's reason to cut back. Food rules in those countries force companies to cut the amount of sodium in their products. High sodium is linked to heart disease, high blood pressure, and stroke. Oh, my goodness, you got to see this. Sydney Sweeney may end up facing criminal charges in California for this stunt to promote her underwear line. She put bras on the Hollywood sign. She did have permission to do a photo shoot in front of it, but not permission to touch it. Apparently, this is considered vandalism. Most of the bras were taken down after she recorded her stunt. And look at all the publicity she's getting for it. So maybe it's worth it being arrested in this case. I don't know. You better really care about the Super Bowl, and probably you don't, because the Bears are not going to be there. Wells Fargo says you're going to spend $140 to host a Super Bowl party for 10 people. That is more than last year. Not by a whole lot, though. Beef prices are way up, so maybe reconsider those beef nachos. No matter how good they are, I would go with wings anyway and just do the cheese on the nachos. Chicken wings are down in cost just a little bit, but vegetables and dips have also increased. Everybody looks forward to this one. The Westminster Dog Show celebrating 150 years with 3 nights of world-class competition. I just wonder how they get the hair so beautiful on those dogs. Fox Sports will broadcast the event live from Madison Square Garden starting on Saturday. Coverage includes the Masters Agility Championship and ends with the Best in Show crowning on February 3rd. It's the second longest running American sporting event in history. And in yet another dating trend, we're taking it out of that book. Something called Hot Take Dating has arrived. It's where you're supposed to be honest and upfront about your viewpoints. Oh, good luck with that. You can filter out people who don't share your worldview. That way, experts say you should use caution if you test out this approach. So apparently,